Thank you for joining us for this webinar. So this time we're going to be looking at awakening your intuition. I'm Jacqueline Buckingham and I'm here with Ben Skerritt. Some of you know us already. Does anybody not know one of us? Don't think I recognize everybody on here. Slee has the camera off, I think, so I don't know who that is, but so I'm an animal communicator, interspecies communicator, and teacher. So I run trainings, teaching other people how to do this, and I also offer consultations, communicating with people's pets, finding out what's going on with them, and helping them hopefully to live happier and more peaceful lives. Oh, hello. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to have everybody on video. It just always makes it so much more connecting, doesn't it? And yeah, I've been teaching animal communication, gosh, for about 12 years, I think now. And yeah, I've been practicing it for around that time. Well, actually, I started practicing it when I was a child, not really realizing what I was doing. I just automatically was chatting with the animals on the farm where I grew up, the plants and the dairy cows and the cattle dogs. And yeah, just seemed like a natural thing to do. And then I guess, like most children, or many children, I stopped doing that as I got to about sort of 9, 10, 11. And many years later, when I met Anna Breitenbach, who's a South African animal communicator, I was reminded of what I used to do instinctively. So yeah, it is an instinctive ability. There are some people on this call I see who've done my workshops, and so you know that we can actually all do this. And there are people on here who can attest to that. So we're going to be looking today at intuition. And so I'll talk a little bit about how intuition is important with interspecies communication. But before we get into the topic, I'm going to hand over to Ben. And Ben, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Jacqueline. My name is Ben. I have been practicing equine therapy and life coaching for a lot of years now. I did an apprenticeship with the Quest model of equine facilitated experiential learning back in 2014, and went over to the States and learned from Linda Kahanov, one of the first people in America, one of the among one of the first people to start that sort of work with horses, that using horses to help people learn about themselves. And that, so for me, I grew up on a farm as well, and I had a lot of very close and loving experiences with animals from a very young age. My parents used to run treks up and down the river, so from a very young age, I was on a horse and around animals and horses in nature and immersed in all of that. And at a certain point, I started to realize when I got into training horses and working with horses and studying horse psychology, I started my own business. And at a certain point, I started to realize that horses actually mirror back to you all of the things that you disown or dislike about yourself, and they're a mirror of your soul, really. They sometimes you like what you see and sometimes you don't. And a lot of the things that horses would mirror back to me when I was working with them would trigger a lot of deep introspection for me. And because of the other things that I was learning and the other teachers that I had, I started to realize that the horse was trying to show me something about myself. And so rather than training horses, so to speak, the horses were actually training me to become a better person when I was open to that information. So that led me on a very spiritual journey, and I had a lot of very profound experiences with horses from what they showed me when I became open to that awareness, and I began to work on myself more. I had some very amazing experiences, and that catalyzed me to want to do more in this area to help people in a different capacity, to rather than working with horses and helping people with horse behavior. I thought, well, why can't I use horses to be a reflection tool for people to work and learn about themselves? And so I've been doing that for quite a lot of years, running workshops and helping people learn about themselves through horses in a reflective capacity, in an intuitive capacity. and that's been a great gift for me, and I love doing this work. It's a great privilege. So that's a little bit about me and my background and what I do.
Mm.
Um,
Thanks, Ben. Mm. Yeah, so we're going to be running a workshop together in Australia later in the year. We ran a 3-day workshop last year, which Christine was one of the attendees at that. It's lovely to see you on here, Christine. And we're going to be doing a longer 5-day retreat this year, really kind of immersing ourselves in nature and immersing ourselves in this whole experience of being with the horses, what the horses can show us and map back to us, and then taking that off and using that to deepen our connection with nature through interspecies communication. Um, so we're running these few webinars to start to give you a taste of some of the things that might be happening in those workshops, and also to offer it to people who can't be at the workshops as well. So yeah, awakening your intuition. So intuitive sensing is a really important part of interspecies communication. So interspecies communication is a form of telepathic communication, and telepathy, unlike I think what mainstream understanding of that is not about mind reading at all. What telepathy actually is feelings over distance. Tele means distance, pathy means from pathos means feelings, and so telepathy is tuning into another's experience of the world and sensing their experience. So whether that's a human, we do that to a certain extent. We can pick up on how friends and family members are feeling even before they've opened their mouth. And we definitely do it with our animals naturally, but we can really hone those experiences and tune in to a degree where we can have two-way conversations with them. And that's what I teach. How do you go about doing that? How do you pick up on what the animal's needs are? How do you ask them questions? How do you perceive the answers that are coming back to you from them? And in this way, we can really get into quite a lot of detail about the animal's experience of life. And intuition is really important with this because it's our intuitive, that sort of gut feeling that is our natural, the doorway to our natural telepathic ability. It's something we can all do, that we do all do at a certain level. As I said, feeling with another telepathy, we do that anyway. And for many, many years, the humans on this planet used to communicate telepathically without words. And there are still some cultures living today that do that. The San people from southern Africa still communicate with one another telepathically, human to human, without words. So it's something we're born with the ability to do. And it's something that we stop doing as we grow up. And I think also because our culture doesn't support it, doesn't really see it as a real thing anymore. So we're not encouraged to do it. But if you live in a culture, like if you grew up with the San people, well, they just do it. So it's not even in question. And so everybody does it and everybody can do it. And if we grew up in that culture, we'd be doing it as well. Um, so learning interspecies communication is about rediscovering that ability, and our intuitive abilities are the doorway to doing that. So I want to pass back to Ben, and you can talk a bit about the work that you do with intuition within the context of equine facilitated experiential learning.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to intuition, there's a lot of things that can get in the way of our intuition and our intuitive faculties. And you could call them emotional blocks or trauma and things we've experienced in our past that cause us to doubt our intuitive abilities. Um, in my experience too, of working with a lot of people, I find that a lot of times we feel quite disconnected from our body. Our body really is the storehouse of our subconscious mind. And so when we disconnect from our body, what happens is we also disconnect to those intuitive faculties, because our body is like the receiving and broadcasting mechanism through which we experience a lot of sensory information, hearing, smelling, seeing, all the different senses that we experience. But our body is also a receiving and broadcasting mechanism for energy. So it's an energetic transmitter we're constant. Our body is its own innate wisdom and intelligence, and it's picking up on all of this very key critical information in our environment through frequency, through energy transmission. So if you're an empath, you may have had the experience of being in someone's presence, and all of a sudden you feel in their energy field, you feel a sense of sadness, or you feel unexpressed emotions from that person, or maybe from an animal as well, potentially. And those empathic abilities have a lot to do with that energetic transmission, that energetic communication that's happening via our body and all of the different energy centers in our body and the cells of our body. Every cell in our body has its own innate intelligence. It has its own consciousness, if you want to call it that. And so that communication between our body and the environment that we live in and the energetics of the world we live in is constantly happening. So when we disconnect to our body because of past hurts and because we don't trust, we often we're taught and indoctrinated into this idea that we have to put a priority on rational intelligence over intuitive intelligence. So the wisdom of the body is often lost. It loses the battle to this idea of rational intellectual intelligence. And often there's a lot of shame and fear and guilt around this idea of having intuitive faculties. And you may have experienced that before from different had different experiences of that. I definitely did growing up. And so a lot of the, like I was saying, a lot of the trauma that we have that sits in our body causes us to disconnect to these intuitive faculties. And sometimes what happens is when we disconnect from our body, we disassociate from our body, we also disconnect from our spiritual senses, and we repress those senses, we bury them deep down, and that causes a lot of, it further compounds a lot of the trauma that we're experiencing. It makes it worse in a lot of ways. And so when we start unraveling some of the emotional pain that we're experiencing and we remove some of those blocks and we have, powerful healing experiences, we can release a lot of that trauma. And when we release that trauma, we become a clear conduit for that energy, for that spiritual energy, and that information flows very freely. Then there's no blocks to that intuition anymore. You could call it inner guidance as well, if you will. So you'll often find that you start getting spontaneous information about yourself, a situation, about many different things in your life from this intuitive awareness. There's no real limit to what you can get information about. I've had intuitions where about things that haven't happened yet. Like even when I'm selling something, and I've had an intuition about a person that was coming to buy it before they even got here. I knew that they were going to buy it and that they were going to be this type of person and this was going to happen. It was just like tuning in. I just allowed myself to what information can I get from the field of energy. Um, so allowing yourself to become that intuitive vessel becomes very powerful in many ways, not only for healing your emotions and healing trauma, but also for healing the body, as well as tuning in and communicating really powerfully to people in your life and having difficult conversations. So there's many uses for that. But my work focuses primarily on helping people remove the blocks that get in the way of them fully accessing their intuitive faculties. So removing the shame, the fear, and the guilt, so that we can be a clear vessel for that energy, if that makes sense. And so I'm planning tonight to do a body scan to take you guys through one of the activities that I do in the workshop, which is called a body scan. And that's going to be it's a tool that we use in all of the activities that we do with the horses, particularly in the retreat, but also in any other workshop that I do. It's a very important tool. And so we're going to be going through and learning about and noticing all the different sensations, the physical sensations, emotional sensations, energetic sensations, all those different levels of sensation that we have in our body, and learning to interpret the intuitive messages from those sensations. And that's the plan for tonight. Jacqueline, would you like to go first with your activity, or you want me to go first with mine?
No, you can start off with yours. That's fine. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I will get started with the body scan. So, like I was saying, the body scan is a great tool for accessing our intuition. Now, when we do a body scan, there's a few things that we need to understand about it first. Like I said, our body is a receiving and broadcasting system for all these different energetic informations that we get, and also it's processing our own emotions. There's a lot of our body is the storehouse of our past experiences. So there's a lot of stuff that can be going on in our body. So learning body scans is a great tool to be able to bring ourselves back into alignment with our intuitive inner guidance system. And it's a tool that like I said, I use very often in different settings in my life, tuning into our body. So when we do body scans, we have to think about the way in which we access this information. So I always use the metaphor of our body is the horse that our head rides around on. Okay, so our body is like the subconscious. Our head rides around in our body, and sometimes we live in our head. And I always and a saying that was very common for me to share in the workshops is if you're in your head, you're dead. So it means that if we get stuck in our head, we're disconnected to those intuitive faculties, and it also means that our life is a lot of the joy and a lot of the the love and gratitude, all those deeper emotions. We tend to get disconnected to those when we're not fully in our heart space, and tuned into the energetics of our body. So the body scan will take you through it. It's going to be about a 10-minute experience. So I want you to get yourself in a comfortable position, and I want you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to just take a few deep breaths. And I want you to, as you breathe deeply, to draw your awareness away from your thinking mind and just let your awareness drop into your body. And I want you to draw your awareness to your nose. And I want you to notice the quality of sensation in your nose. Notice if it's hard to breathe or is it easy to breathe. Notice what you notice first about your nose as you bring your awareness to it. Notice the different levels of sensation, physical, emotional, and energetic. Now drop your awareness from your nose down into your jaw. Again, I want you to notice the quality of sensation in your jaw. Does your jaw feel open or does it feel closed? Does it feel relaxed or does it feel tense? Does it feel, are your teeth resting gently against each other or is there some space between them? Just notice the quality of sensation in your jaw. Is it positive? Is it negative? Or is it neutral? Now, drop your awareness from your jaw down into your neck and throat. And again, I want you to notice the quality of sensation in your neck and throat area. Does your neck feel open or does it feel closed? Does it feel soft? Does it feel hard? Does your throat feel open or does it feel closed? Maybe you feel as though you have a lump in your throat or something blocking it, or maybe it feels open, expansive, and connected. I want you to notice the different levels of sensation in your neck and your throat: physical, emotional, and energetic. Now drop your awareness from your throat and neck down into your shoulders, arms, and hands. And notice what you notice first when you rest your awareness in your shoulders, arms, and hands. Do your shoulders feel heavy or do they feel light? Maybe you feel as though you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, or like you're carrying something heavy. Notice your arms and hands and fingertips. Do you feel energy flowing through your fingertips? Maybe there's a tingling sensation or an expansive sensation around your hands. Just notice the different sensations, both positive and negative, in your shoulders, arms, and hands. Just observe it exactly the way it is. Now drop your awareness from your shoulders down into the center of your chest. And again, I want you to notice what you notice first as you draw your awareness to the center of your chest, your heart center. Does your heart feel open or does it feel closed? Is your heart beating fast or is it beating slow? Maybe you feel some emotions welling up in your heart center. Whatever emotions you feel, just allow them to be there. Give them permission to be there. We're not trying to recoil or get away from our sensations. We're becoming fully present with them. We're giving them permission to speak and to communicate to us more fully. Now drop your awareness from your heart center down into your belly and abdominal area. And again, notice the quality of sensation in your belly and abdominal area. Does your belly feel open or does it feel closed? Does it feel tense or does it feel relaxed? Maybe you have some butterflies in your stomach, or maybe you have a heaviness, like something heavy in there. Whatever sensation you notice, just be with that sensation. Just allow it to be there. Give it permission to speak to you more clearly. Now drop your awareness from your abdominal area down into your hips. And again, notice the quality of sensation in your hips. Do your hips feel heavy? Or do they feel light? Do they feel open or do they feel closed? Do they feel tense or do they feel relaxed? Notice the different levels of sensation: physical, emotional, energetic. Notice if the sensation is positive, negative, or neutral. Now draw your awareness from your hips back up your spine and back. And again, I want you to notice the sensation that you notice first. Does your spine feel aligned or does it feel disjointed and out of alignment? Does your back feel soft and relaxed or does it feel hard and rigid? Do you have some energy flowing up and down your spine? Maybe it feels aligned and open. You feel some energy sensations coming up and down. Just notice the quality of sensation in your spine and back. Just allow it to be there. Now draw your awareness from your spine and back and let it drop down into your legs and feet. And again, notice what you notice first as you draw your awareness into your legs and feet. Do your legs and feet feel relaxed or do they feel tense? Do you feel heavy, a heaviness in your feet? Maybe your feet feel like they're grounded, like a tree deep in the earth. Or maybe your feet feel like they're hovering and like you're disconnected from the ground. Or maybe you feel unstable or off balance. Whatever sensation you notice, just observe the sensation exactly the way it is without trying to change it. Just allow it to be there. Now you may feel as though you have a lot of sensations and information coming from your body. So you're going to make a deal with your body. You're going to make a deal with your body that you're going to listen to it from now on, as long as it gives you the information one sensation at a time. So we only want one sensation. So I want you to allow yourself to bring your awareness back and drop it into your whole body. And I want you to allow your body to guide you to the sensation that is the most significant, whether it be an energetic sensation, an emotional sensation, or a physical sensation. Allow your body to guide you to the sensation that is the most significant, the one that speaks to you the loudest out of all of them. And when you've found that sensation, I want you to breathe into it. I want you to expand that sensation. I want you to send that sensation an opening, questioning awareness. And I want you to ask that sensation for a message. And I want you to be open to the way the message comes through. It may come through as a phrase, a poem, a song, just an intuitive knowing, a felt sense. It may come through as a picture, as a color, as a mind movie. Whatever way that message comes through, just be open to it. The body often speaks more like an artist and a poet than it does a scientist. So just be open to the unique way that your body communicates to you through that sensation. So find the sensation, breathe into it, expand it, send it an opening, questioning awareness, and ask that sensation for a message. And when you have a message, you can open your eyes. So would anyone, when they feel like they've come back, does anyone feel like they could be happy to share the body scan message and that they got? Once you don't have to share, that's up to you. I just, if anyone would like to share, they put your hand up.
Or anything about the body scan experience in
Anything,
general.
any questions you have, absolutely, yeah.
Mm.
I'll go. I'm always game to talk, so.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks for being
So
brave.
when I did the scan, the two places that actually connected was my heart center. So I actually felt that like energetically blocked. And then as we moved down, my hips that have been plaguing me for months, I felt an emotional block actually there, which surprised me, to be perfectly honest. So then when I went into the whole body to see what was like, the key point, and it was the hips. And then when I asked for that signal and I saw this, it was like the locket, the little heart locks. I saw
Yeah,
that with the key, which then, so when I came out of that and I was like, so the hips are connected to the heart, which seemed a little bit profound for the moment. Yeah.
wow, very powerful. Yeah, it's very profound.
Mm.
And just out of curiosity, is that sensation diminished or shifted since you've got the message? If you go back to it now.
It actually, if I sense, yeah, it's a freer area now. There's not as much there.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's often, yeah, often what happens is when we get the message, our body will often, the sensation will diminish because the information's been relayed to us consciously, and once we acknowledge it, that's all we need to do. There's nothing else that needs to be done. Sometimes there'll be that sensation will shift and intensify somewhere else, and you can ask for a secondary message, or is there more that your sensation wants to communicate to me, and what are the secondary messages? You can ask it for more if that happens, but usually the sign that you've got the message and it's been received is that the sensation will diminish. So very powerful.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ash.
Would anyone else like to share? I think there's someone in the chat. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks. Sarah, is it?
Sally Ann.
Oh, Sally Ann, sorry.
Yeah. I always thought, well, for me there was an ache in my heart, but as we're doing the whole going through the whole thing, my probably for the last 6 months my legs have ached constantly, and I have arthritis in my fingers, so they ache constantly too. So when you asked us to focus, I thought, come straight into my head, I thought, oh, I know where this is going to go, it'll be my hands and my legs. But it wasn't. It was, and I didn't feel anything in, well, when we went to our heart during the meditation, it was blue. And when I did this last seminar, like this last webinar, it was black.
Yeah,
so there was this light blue, and I thought, oh, that's good. But then when we had to focus, the ache opened and little white doves came out.
Wow, that's amazing.
And and I asked for the message, and it was almost like a rebirth, like a reborn, like a I don't know how to describe it, but there was flocks of them. And and there wasn't one or two, they were just kept coming like bats out of a cave. And
wow.
yeah, and it was almost like I don't know whether you remember, Ben, but when we worked with Phoenix, I was to take flight, and it was sort of like that sensation again. Yeah.
Oh wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
So there's things happening around me, so I think I know what that's all about.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, your body has some very deep and powerful insights when we listen to it. So trusting it is really the key there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Sally. And that image is really vivid as well. You're saying about those doves coming out like bats out of a cave. I can really picture just like endless flocks of doves coming out. Fantastic image.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can also feel how freeing that might be as well, like that sense of really moving into
like there's hang on. My chest feels quite open to where it was. Like I can breathe, and there's no restriction.
It's beautiful.
It's almost like it's gone from being this to this.
Yeah. It's amazing what can happen when we tune in and we trust that higher part of ourselves to do the driving for a while. There's a lot of cool stuff that can happen, synchronicities. Anyone else have something they'd like to share, or no, it's okay.
The wisdom of the body is it's a powerful thing. The body has so much information that it's stored away. It's been there with us the whole time, hasn't it, on our whole journey? And it is a storage place for our emotions and for our experiences, and they're all stashed away in there somewhere. And the beauty of this exercise that Ben just took us through, I mean, you'll all get the recording afterwards, so don't worry if you didn't get anything just now. You can go back and do this exercise again and again. And as Sally Ann was saying, the last time she did it, that heart was black, and this time it's blue. And you might find that it changes, it shifts, and you might find it easier to access those feelings next time. So keep playing with it. Yeah, I do. I remember one time having, the way I could access my feelings was I had a massage, and the girl was working on my lower back, which has always been quite jammed. And all of a sudden, all this grief came out. And she was telling me that apparently we store a lot of our emotions in our lower back, in our pelvic sort of area. That tends to be a repository for a lot of people's emotional stuff. So going through this exercise is actually very healthy also for us and for our bodies. Mm.
Absolutely.
I just want to take
I'll
you through another shorter exercise just to sort of access. We've only got 20 minutes left, but I'll just take you through a quicker exercise, which is another way of just accessing your intuition, of kind of playing with your intuition. There are many different ways we can do this in our daily lives, if you like, and just practicing our intuitive skills and noticing, are we getting more accurate or not? One of the things I like to play with is when I'm driving along in the car, I'll tune into the car in front of me and see if I can intuit which way they're going. I'm about to turn off. Are they going to turn off? Like a long time before the exit, are they about to turn off the same way, or are they going to go straight on? And just sort of playing with that. Yeah, Ash, I see you laughing. It sounds like that's maybe something that you've done. It's a really simple one. And you'll notice the more that you do it, the more your accuracy increases, because you are developing your intuitive capacities in that way. And another way you can use your intuition is to assess, that sense of, should I go with this decision or that decision? Should I go with this option or that option? Should I wear this item of clothing or that item of clothing? Shall I have this for dinner or that for dinner? So even at that basic day-to-day level, we can use our intuitive skills to help us with making basic day-to-day decisions. And all of these are ways of practicing accessing our intuition and developing our intuition as a result of that. So I wanted to take you through a very quick exercise now, which is one of noticing which option do we go with, which direction do we go in. So I don't know if you are able to think of maybe a decision that you've got coming up in your life right now. It doesn't have to be a big one. It could be something very simple, like, should I go for a short walk after this, or should I go and make myself a cup of tea, or should I go straight to bed, or what? Any decision that you might be faced with right now. So if you want to just settle into your body again, close your eyes, bring your attention inwards to your body. And you could focus on your heart area. You could just focus on your overall body and just trusting your body's natural intuition. And then bring to mind some choice that you might have coming up for you soon. And as you ask yourself the question in your mind, ask yourself about one of the options. Ask your body to give you a clue about whether that is the right option for you. And what you might notice coming up in your body is a feeling of maybe lightness with one option and heaviness with the other. Or one might seem lighter in your mind's eye, brighter than the other. Or you might notice a subtle leaning in your body towards one option or the other. Sometimes we can feel it as bubbles in our tummy, or maybe our heart beats a bit faster. So offering your body these two choices and seeing if one is more clearly a yes than the other. Take a moment to thank your body for its wisdom. Bring your awareness back to the call, opening your eyes. So did anybody get the response in asking the question? If so, would you like to share? Yeah, Belinda, thank you.
Probably because it was a bit shorter. It's been a long day here. Mine was just a question for something to do on Friday night, which so I asked, should I? And I get visual images and auditory usually. So this one was a definite yes, and it's almost like the yes is like think of sunrise colors, yellows, orange, reds, and it's in like a bubble formation, and then the rays are like coming out of the word. And so then I said, okay, are we sure? Should I stay home on Friday? And I get the no comes out again like a bubble, but it's covered in almost like black clouds, like purpley dark sort of nighttime clouds. So that's usually what I see things or hear them.
Yeah, that's pretty clear. I love your visuals. Yeah, they're pretty clear distinction between yes and no, aren't they? So it sounds like you're going out on Friday night.
Yeah, just night markets. So nothing to do with sunrise.
Yeah. The opposite, isn't it, of what you're actually doing? But the information that's coming through your body as a yes is what you know to be. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. I actually asked, I noticed that my head was, I asked, what should I do after this call? Shall I go out for a walk in the sun, or shall I eat a boiled egg because I'm hungry? And my body was saying yes for the walk, and I'm like, but I'm hungry, I want the boiled egg. So it's kind of interesting to notice that, even though our logical mind has a choice that it wants to make, our body knows better. So, yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to share? No. Okay. We've still got another 15 minutes. So this is the chance for you to ask us any questions you'd like to about our work, or about anything that we've talked about here today, or about any of our programs that we've got coming up as well. Just to summarize again, we did speak about the retreat that we've got coming up at the end of October. That's in Glenifer in the Promised Land on the coast. And that's a 5-day camping, either BYO tent or in a lovely bell tent. We've got the bell tent hire company as well that's working with us on that. And then we've also got a 3-day course a week after that, where you can just, if you don't fancy the long retreat or haven't got the time off, we've just got a short weekend course that you could hop onto if you want to come and experience mine and Ben's work. And that's also near Coffs, that's at Bonville. And then I'm offering some online courses as well for anybody who's not in Australia or not on the East Coast or nowhere near the Coast region. I've got some online courses coming up as well. So hop on and have a look and see if any of those dates suit you. I've scheduled them so that the times suit all time zones. So, whether you're in the West Coast of America or the East Coast of Australia, then there should be something in there that fits for you. But yeah, open up the floor to you guys. Anything else you want to add, Ben, before we open up for questions?
No, that's all great. Yeah, no, I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah, just happy to answer some questions, I guess, if anyone has any about anything we've talked about or anything they had burning in their mind before they got to this webinar.
Are you able to pop some links in the chat for different courses and things you've mentioned?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that while we're answering questions. I can do that now.
I've got to say, when I jumped on the call and Ben started talking about how he works with horses, and knowing that we're going to be working with horses in the week's retreat, I had a moment when he was talking about, and I agree, like, horses are the mirror of our soul. Like, they show us the parts of ourselves that we struggle with the most. I've always found that. But in that moment, I was very confronted that, oh my God, in that week, I'm going to find the parts of myself that I've been running away from. So I'm excited, but I'm also like, what's going to happen to me in that week?
Absolutely. You know, and I always say it's very scary to confront our shadow aspects, the parts of ourselves that we have shame around, or we disown, or we try very hard to hide from the world. And you know, that week is going to be all about, you know, creating a safe space for people to unconceal that and to dive into and to work with those aspects so that, you know, they can free themselves of anything that they're holding on to from as a result of that. You know, the greatest thing I think we can sort of recognize is that ultimately the beliefs, that the core beliefs that we hold on to that limit us, we don't have to hold on to them. They don't have to be the things that direct our lives. You know, we have the power to free ourselves from those limiting core beliefs, and also every experience we have in our life essentially is an experience that is on the way, not in the way. So it's an experience. All experiences are, in a sense, a catalyst for growth and realization and learning. So if I was to reference my own personal journey, so for many years I experienced depression and anxiety, and I always thought that was like I was always trying to get away from it. Like, why am I feeling this way? But when I started doing this healing work, and I started, you know, listening to my intuition, which was saying that this is what you're meant to be doing, and when I do it, all of those feelings would go away, and all of a sudden I would just feel this strong sense of being home inside myself, like being at home within myself, which I think is the most powerful home we can ever find. And so that feedback, that intuitive part of myself and my higher self, what was guiding me, just showed me feedback. When I take this direction, you know, this is how your body's going to feel. It's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel dense. It's not going to feel like you, because it's not you, you know. And so the depression and anxiety was a lot of the limiting beliefs I was hanging on to about myself that were keeping me small and restricted. So when I started to heal a lot of those, and I started to trust my intuition more, a lot of those fell away. And then the freedom that I experienced was profound. And it stays with me to this day. And it's a beautiful experience. And I think that wouldn't have happened if I didn't explore the darkness, the parts of myself that I was trying to hide or unwilling to, you know, look at or address about myself, if that makes sense.
Very
And
much so, yeah.
yeah, so I feel like my work is dedicated to holding that space for people and to helping people traverse that inner terrain that comes with that, and, you know, and some of their experiences. Because when I think we're deeply held in that space with someone that has a loving presence, there's a power to that, to witnessing that with them, and to, you know, and to what that can do, and how safe they can feel in that, and then release that, and you know, and what that then becomes available to them is amazing. Like, you know, it's very powerful. And I think it's also worth noting that all experiences, even the ones we feel are the most deeply painful, and some of the worst experiences we would quote as being the worst experiences in our life, all have a very powerful and important meaning in your life, in helping you discover who you are. So when we get to that core level of understanding, we realize that all those experiences actually catalyze us to be exactly where we are today, and doing exactly what we're meant to be doing in the way that we're doing it. So it's this sense of like deep and profound gratitude for what has happened, because if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be who we are. We wouldn't be experiencing the things we're experiencing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And we'll go more into that definitely in the retreat. We'll be diving deep into that. So thank you for
I'm very
sharing.
keen. Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Do we have time for one more question?
Absolutely.
I was interested in what you were saying about picking up from different energy. And on the weekend, we're at a large sporting event, and it was a real rah-rah heavy energy event. I felt absolutely exhausted afterwards, and it wasn't like I was happy, but I was just feeling very drained. And I suppose my question is, do you have any techniques on being able to still go to those events and not feel so exhausted and really like you want to just go into a cave and get away from people afterwards? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I don't know your name.
Sorry, I'm Samantha. Hi.
Samantha. Hi, Samantha. Yeah, it's a really good question. And it comes up quite a lot as well with interspecies communication, because you will find that the more that you increase your capacity to sense, and your capacity with these different forms of sensing, that your sensitivity increases, and therefore your capacity to be around certain people, to be in big crowds, to be in very busy spaces can be affected as well. You find your tolerance level might get reduced. So it is something that I get asked a lot, and I do have a couple of practices that I give people, meditative practices that can help us to put ourselves into a space where we feel more protected before we go into those situations. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess just to add to what Jacqueline said, there's definitely a lot of work that you can do on yourself to sort of enhance your ability, like creating energetic boundaries, having a clear intention before you go in to the environment of, how does this align with my higher values and what's important to me, and to be very clear about energetically about what I'm getting out of this experience before I go into it. So I'm not allowing myself to energetically, have all these energy leaks where things in the environment are taking me away from that sense of meaning and purpose, and why I'm actually there. I guess the other thing would be to explore what was the things that triggered you about the event, that may have drained your energy, because sometimes that can be a reflective practice to look at what that brought up for you, because sometimes there's something in that as well, and in the reflection of, it wasn't exactly just, that wasn't the whole event necessarily. It could have just been some things that happened with people that triggered something, or a memory, because trauma also can be present in those situations, and big events where there's lots of loud stuff going on can be, can create PTSD responses and cause us to regress back into early experiences in our life. It can also be that if our anxiety levels, our emotional balloon is very full, then it can also be that when we go into those environments that we plug into all the different manic energies, and it just strains our nervous system because we're in fight or flight. So there's a lot of intentional exercises we can do, meditative exercises to center ourselves in our authentic self, and ground ourselves, and have a clear intention, and then also reflect on what it is that was triggered. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you
And
so
also,
much.
yeah, and just a bit more on that, Samantha, as well. Yeah, when we're in big events, that can happen, and it can even happen sometimes when we're in small events. That something can come up as well. So what Ben was saying about tracking, like what was the thing? It may not have been something, even though it was a big busy event, it might have been something quite small that kind of set you off, as it were. So yeah, I mean, I had something came up for me during the weekend that I was just on, and even though I was surrounded by nature, connected people, and that was the whole purpose of the event, I noticed at one point I completely disconnected, and I was kind of went into this unfocused space, and I was like, well, what happened there? And I was able to track it back to the thing that happened. That was seemingly very innocent, but it brought up something in me, and I disconnected at that point. So once I could see it, then I could come back into connection with the rest of the group, and things moved along. So it's not always a big thing. Sometimes it can be something very subtle. And this was about people singing a song. Go figure. You wouldn't think that would be triggering, but in that moment, something happened for me. So yeah. So we'll look at a lot of those different things. Yeah. I just saw, so Belinda, to answer, it's more easy to answer you in person. My online courses are in, so the link I've put in there is to my Aussie try booking site. So you should see the times in there in Australian times. Yeah. But I always clearly put whether it's, you know, Australian Standard Time, Australian Daylight Time, British Summer Time, you know, so you should be able to see quite clearly which it is. And there's also a link on that page to World Time Buddy where you can just double check those timings. And I think because the course is one of the courses in October, and you know, your clocks change before our clocks change here, so that's also taken into account as well.
Thank you. Sorry for having to ask because it's not actually mentioned what time zone. And I know some courses are run late UK for our early time. So if it's
It doesn't mention what time zone.
No.
On,
6 to
which,
9 p.m.
on the 5-day retreat or on the online course?
The online one.
The online one. Oh, okay. Maybe I put the wrong link in there. Yeah, the heading, it says 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra.
I was looking at the body, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, I see. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Belinda,
thanks.
you had a question there about the 5 and 3 day courses. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So
For
you're
brand
wondering if
newbies.
that's suitable for newbies. Is that what you
Yeah.
is that
Are they more healing events versus actual communication practice required? I'm just thinking of some other like bring.
Well,
yeah,
from my
so
perspective, you don't need to have studied animal communication before. I'll be I'll be going back over the basics again. So whether people have done it before or not, it doesn't really matter because we will be going over the basics because it's always helpful to recover the basics whether you've done it before or not. So yeah,
What was that
yeah,
one
and from
for?
my perspective, sorry.
that's for the retreat and the 3-day weekend.
Yep.
Sorry, and from my perspective, yeah, there's no need to have any prerequisites to come to the course. So if, as far as the healing work goes, I always say to people when I do my workshops, you know, that everybody's responsible for the depth that they want to take the work during the you know, the work that I do. So it's really a personal choice as to how deep they want to go and what they want to get out of it. So I guess if the person is very, you know, has a great interest in that work and it feels it's like something that resonates with them, that feels very true that they want to explore, then it's definitely both of those courses are equally going to be beneficial and powerful for that experience, if that makes sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the difference between the two is, you know, the 3-day event is a sort of, you know, it's a weekend thing. It's not residential. You can come and go. It'll touch on the sort of basics of both of the different modalities. And then with the 5-day one, it is an immersive retreat. We're staying on site. We're spending evenings together. We'll do a bit of movement practice and meditation in the morning. So it's more of a fully immersive thing. So we will go a lot more deeply into things and also cover more things than we can cover in the 3-day. So that's basically the differences.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up? No. Yeah, and Belinda also to acknowledge that the timing on that booking page. I think I found it a bit tricky whether to put standard time or daylight savings time because the clocks change on Saturday night. So it starts on AEST,
Australian Eastern Time.
AEDT. So it was a bit tricky to know how to put that. So that's why I just put Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, because, you know, for you guys, it's always going to be 6 until 9.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for flagging it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for being with us. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. We will be sending you the recording and you can go back and practice any of those activities again in your own time. And yeah, Ben, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming along tonight. It's been a privilege to share the space with you all, and I hope you all got something useful out of this session for you to practice and to go on with. Yeah, I appreciate your presence and what you bring to the group. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we'll see you guys.